Welcome to Creative Conversations. I'm Roger Humphrey. In this episode, I'm proud to welcome to the show guitarist and composer Dale Kavanagh. Join us as we talk about composing, interpretation, teaching, touring, and so much more. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe or follow button. It's an easy thing to do, but it really helps the channel a lot. Thanks. And we are welcoming to the show Dale Kavanagh. Dale, thank you so much for joining me.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you.
I appreciate this a lot. I really do. I have to tell you, and I want to be real careful not to be too much of a fanboy. I am a huge fan. One of my favorite CDs that I go to regularly is Reverie, and I've owned it for, gosh, I think almost since it came out.
Oh,
And so I am a fan, and I deeply appreciate you agreeing to be on the show. Thank you again.
yeah.
I can get you to move into your microphone a little bit. There we go. Thank you. And
Oh, okay.
there we go. That's good. That's better.
All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So I have to ask, what got you first interested in guitar? I mean, what was your earliest influence, maybe?
Oh, my cousin, my big cousin,
Uh-huh.
and then my big brother. Just wanted to be like my big cousin and my big brother. Yeah.
There you go. I remember somebody
Now I love music, and I played piano and clarinet and other instruments, but the guitar caught me.
that
And they both played, and so I had to join in.
was classical your first decision, or did you try to do other things instead?
Well, my piano lessons were in classical, but of course, I mean, I'm from Nova Scotia, so there was traditional folk and rock songs and all the things that we do our youth. Yeah.
Yeah, for me it was the whole folk music thing of the late '50s and early '60s that kind of hooked me. I'd always liked the instrument, and I remember seeing people like Les Paul, for example, on television. But it was the folk music that really kind of snagged me. And then for me it's kind of an easy move to go from folk music into early music like Greensleeves and things like that. And I was just and it, and it was down the slippery slope from there.
Right.
so
Yeah.
so that's, what about composing? Have you always composed? I'm a fan of your compositions, by the way.
Well, thank you very much. I haven't. Yes, I mean, I wrote songs as a teenager.
Uh-huh.
Then I started writing. I wrote little etudes and things as a classical guitarist, and I always wanted to write, and I enjoyed it. I used it basically as kind of therapy, but I took myself very seriously. I just used it as therapy and something that made me feel good and helped me also learn the instrument more and also helped me with interpretation more. Thinking about the whole fretboard and just being all over the place and trying to think of maybe how other guitar composers thought about things as they composed, or if they weren't guitar composers, how they thought about things for the instrument, which is very abstract, and I don't know how they did it.
I agree.
So,
So you haven't studied composition formally or anything like that?
well, studied formally, no, but I did have a lot of help from my Carlo Dominic.
Oh,
I
okay.
would work with him a bit, and some help from Steve Goss. I've gone to him a few times, and he helped rearrange this and that, and different composers and arrangers, and tips from everywhere. And I've played an incredible amount of repertoire, and not just solo, duo, quartets, many, many concertos, many new concertos. Like Thomas and I, in the Amadeus Guitar Duo, we've recorded over 17 concertos with orchestra and
Wow.
performed them. And a lot of them are very modern. I write fairly melodic
Uh-huh.
rhythmic music, but I also enjoy very much very atonal music and really challenging rhythms and multi rhythms and all of those things. So
What
my interest is wide. What I write, I don't know what it is I write. I just write what comes out.
I actually I was listening last night, uh, re-listening, I should say, Jorge Caballero playing your Prelude One, and I just boy, he just tears it up. It's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. But I like Melissa El Fuoco,
Yeah.
and there's another one. There's a third one that goes Contemplation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, those are my first real pieces where people started saying, "Oh, that's interesting."
that's great music, though. It really
And I
is.
look at those pieces as rather jazzy kind of pieces. Uh, I've changed a little since then, slowly but surely.
I think.
But I love pieces. They're great fun. They're just fun pieces.
And they're fun to listen to as well. I've often thought, or I have thought recently, they'd be kind of fun to noodle around in them myself. I'm just kind of afraid of playing them badly. So
Yeah, it's just about let's enjoy our lives.
yeah,
What playing good, bad. I mean,
just play.
enjoy them if you can get through them, and
Exactly.
have fun.
when when you guys are working on new music, with Thomas Kirshner, your husband, of course, when you guys are working on new music, what's your approach? How do you? I mean, if you're working on like the Rodrigo, you've got a multitude of people that you can listen to and take your inspiration from, and things you like and don't like. But when you got a brand new piece, how do you tackle it? How do you look at that?
I prefer brand new pieces, and that's where the composition became more and more interesting. I prefer playing pieces that I've never heard an interpretation from. Always have, because then I'm not influenced. I have to really look at it and um, go from square one and come up with my own ideas about how to interpret. It's great to hear different interpretations of pieces and everything, but it all influences you to a
Yes.
certain extent. And then you try and do your own special way to do it. That's all fine and I prefer something I've never seen before. And so, yeah, that was interesting for both Thomas and myself.
Now, as a composer, you've heard other people play your music. Have you ever heard somebody play it and you go, "Oh, I wrote it that way"? They find something in the music that you didn't realize you put in there.
Well, nothing that I didn't realize.
Well, I mean, you know all the notes, but there's a phrasing or there's a movement in there that kind of flew under your own personal radar. Not really.
I suppose. I suppose yes. There's many different ways to do something, and yeah, some people have brought new ideas or things maybe I haven't thought of up. And sometimes I've been maybe surprised at this and that, but at the same time, when I release a piece for people to play, then it's in the world and it will take its own life, and people will interpret it how they see it, as long as the notes and the rhythms are correct. I'm
Sort of like watching a child graduate and move on with their life.
yeah. That's how I look at it. Some composers are very specific, and there's only one way to do this. I have created something. I've enjoyed creating it. I do the best to make it as clear as possible. Maybe other people find something to make it a little better or to make me go, but it's theirs now. When you play, if you want to play some of my piece, then it's yours. Do the best, and I would love to hear it.
That remains to be seen, but we'll see.
I mean,
So you have a rather significant discography. You've recorded a lot as a soloist as well as in the duet. Do you have anything new coming up?
oh, I do. I mean, I've been working on this project that's finally finished,
Oh, bring it. I'm
and
nosy.
it's called Dale and Friends, and it's been a 3-year project because of logistics of getting people together. And it's all my own compositions. Like my last CD's Dale plays Kavanagh plays Kavanagh.
Right.
Dale and Friends, they're all my own compositions. So there's trios and duos and some of my solos also. So I'm playing with many fantastic, wonderful friends and great artists like yeah, Zoran Dukic and Aniela Desiderio and Laura Young and Li Ying Chu and Sumye Ergen, Frank Gastmeyer, my husband Thomas Kirchhoff, and Margarita Scarpa. And is there anyone I'm missing? Well, Hans van Hoopers has done all the engineering and the producing, who's also a very good friend who I wrote my duo piece Kaleidoscope for. So it's been this project and it's finally finished and it will be coming out really soon. It's been really long. I almost forgot about it. But now, no, I just finished all it's going to the company will be bringing it in Nexos will bring it out probably at the end of the summer, early fall.
That'd be awesome.
But I can't believe it. And I'm so happy everyone did such a great job. It's super exciting for me.
I think anybody who's not involved in what we do think that this is sort of like a We Are the World situation where everybody gets in a studio for an afternoon and plays all the music, and they don't realize the logistical hassles, and pieces are kind of done a little bit here and a little bit there until you finally have what you want and the way you want it.
Well, our recordings, no, it didn't work like that. It's first I had to compose them,
Sure.
then I had to find the people, and then I had to get them here, and then everyone had to learn their part. But we recorded, each recording was 1 hour or 2 hours and done. Not mixing like in pop music, or of course mixing to a certain extent, but it was just the logistics of Margarita lives in Vigo, and Zoran lives everywhere, and then Laura lives. Sometimes I'm in Canada a lot, and everyone has a touring career and teaching career. That was the difficult part.
Yeah, yeah. Now you have. I know you teach in Germany, correct?
Yes.
Do you have a large studio?
Well, I have actually retired from teaching. I taught at the Musikhochschule in Detmold for 25 years, and I have stopped teaching in order that I can spend more time to compose, and I'm still playing a lot. And I just wanted more time to compose. I just thought, well, life is going by, and there's these things I want to do. So I don't have a studio anymore. I teach master classes. I still play a lot of concerts, and usually with concerts is a master class to go with it. And that's a lot of fun. I just got back from a tour just a couple of weeks ago across Canada, and went in the States in the fall, and I'll be back next year. And I'm was in Portugal and Hungary and Poland next month, and I'm playing a lot. So at some point you can't do it all, and I want time to compose, but you also need chunks. We've got one life.
Yeah, live
This
it
is
the
what I
best you
want.
can. Right. I
Yeah,
agree.
I'm lucky that I'm able to be able to do that.
It's yeah. I'm at a point in my life now where I get to do this. But I remember some years ago I was actually teaching 93 private students a week. Plus I had classes, and so there wasn't room for much of anything else. It was teaching and sleeping.
Well, these are other times in our life, and of course I have. Well, we have our daughter's grown up now, but you also want your family time.
Sure, absolutely, that's important.
So,
At any age, that's important.
yes, but yeah, how busy we were throughout our lives. It's wonderful. It's fantastic to be busy, but there's also priorities, and when you have the ability to be able to prioritize things a little more, that's
Exactly.
fine. I've done so far, I've had an incredibly good time. So I'm just continuing the journey.
Well, I was tromping around on your website a little while ago, and I was looking at your upcoming schedule, and you're a busy person.
Well, I'm always a busy person. Yes, that's true.
Now,
So, and
how many festivals will you do this year?
oh, I don't know. Koblenz is next in a week or something,
Yeah.
and then we have a festival in July, of course, and also I'm in China for a festival, for a festival, beginning of July, and Darmstadt in the fall, and um, Manfredonia in Italy, a festival in Italy, and just sort of a festival doing for many years, and we're one big international family, as you know.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, people just seem to travel everywhere to do everything. That's the one thing. At my age now, I travel very little, and I'm very happy about that. I spend a lot of time looking through a windshield, and I think we do at some point in our, for most of our careers, we spend a lot of time traveling, and you get to a point where it's like just the bloom comes off the rose, for me anyway. It doesn't for everybody. I know some people are real road warriors and they love it. I never have been. I'm kind of a homebody, so.
No, I've liked traveling all my life, and now you don't always like it these days because many things go wrong, but you just do it. It's just part of it all.
It is indeed. So you do the festivals. You're doing quite a few concerts, solo as and duo, right?
Yes, and quartets, different quartets, different combinations.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of chamber music personally with the guitar, and for me that's been my most satisfying uh, musical experiences. Working, had a flutist that I worked with on again and off again for 25 years, and plus other ensembles. I've done things with violins and cellos and stuff like that, and I love it. I really love the guitar in a chamber setting. Um, so
I also,
everybody thinks they have to be the virtuoso soloist, and I just think the guitar is much broader than that.
it's definitely much broader than that. And I think playing chamber music is always going to make a much better soloist.
Oh yeah, I hadn't thought of that, but I think you're right. I
I think so. Yes.
I think as I'm a self-taught guitar player, I'm a mutt, so so I found that I had to learn how to work differently to work in an ensemble because I was just kind of used to practicing on my own terms and playing on my own terms. And when I was performing, I could kind of fudge a little here and fudge a little there, and nobody would ever know. And man, the minute you sit down next to one or two or three other people, the rules change.
And that's exactly the point. Learning to together teaches you how to structure your piece, your solo pieces also properly. And then once they're completely structured properly, you can put in the elasticity of your interpretation. But I noticed there's a huge development in the classical guitar playing in the last 30 years. But at the beginning years of my teaching, it was so obvious the students I would have who had not played chamber music and hadn't learned to count properly and wouldn't notice if they missed a beat in a 4/4 and only did 3 beats and little things like that. Maybe if it was only one time in a piece, but as soon as there's another instrument there, it becomes, free. And then learning to flow together. We all have a different way to play. We all have a different sound. We all have a different interpretation, and having to work together and think about it and come to a conclusion together as a team um, teaches you incredible musicality and also how to live in this world that we all have to live together and we all think differently, but there's always a way to work things out if we try. That's how I look at chamber music.
Yeah, let's hear it for chamber music. So, a story that I haven't told in a while, but I love. Many years ago, I had three little girls about ages 10, 11 years old that were taking from me, and had been since they were much younger than that. They'd started when they were kindergarten or something. And they were all friends. One had started, and another one thought it was a cool idea, and then the third one thought wanted to do so. So I had them each individually, but I knew that they were all friends. So at about age 11 or 12, they got together, the three of them, and decided they were going to play some music together. They had never tried to play together, and they were all excited. They were all, and I wasn't, this was just all on their own without me. Their parents just said, yeah. One of the moms said, yeah, you can do it at my house. And, and the families all knew each other and everything. So anyway, a week or so later, when I saw one of the girls, and I asked her if they'd had the weekend, she said yes. And I said, how did it go? And she said, it was so much fun. And she said, part of the time we even played together. She said, we even got the right notes together. But they learned rather quickly that sitting in a lesson room and just kind of, mucking about trying to get the right notes was a lot different than sitting down with other people and trying to make a song sound right.
Right. And it's not all about always getting along either. It's about sharing opinions and coming to a conclusion that's going to work for everyone.
and learning which battles to fight and which ones to walk away from. You bet.
Yeah.
But I know that when I was working with other people, if somebody had a really strong opinion about a particular phrase and my opinion wasn't that strong, I'd acquiesce. I mean, it's like, okay, let's go with your ideas. But other times they would say, Roger's got an idea, let's try this. And so and it's that give and take is what makes the music. I mean, it's working with the flutist that I worked with. I've often said that the music that we made, it was like a third personality. Her personality plus my personality equaled this other personality that wouldn't have existed otherwise. So, and
I was just thinking. Also, thank goodness for repeats, because then you can have two ways.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. Yeah, let's do that one again. This time I'll be right. So. That's funny. That's funny. So, well, you know what? I could probably sit here and just jabber away for the rest of the day, and I know you've got other things to do. So I am going to thank you so much for coming on the show, and I'm going to cut you loose. And it was a quick, short interview, and I hope perhaps that we can do it again sometime soon.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Thanks for taking the time to listen. If you enjoy this podcast, please recommend it to a friend, maybe even send them a link. And I hope you'll come back real soon to listen to other episodes of Creative Conversations with Roger Humphrey.